Hi there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 189. This is definitely an installment of You Asked For It, so let's talk about it. The topic today is email. You may love it, you may hate it, you may feel a little bit of both given any certain day, and I totally get it. I love email as an amazing communication and information sharing tool. It really boggles my mind thinking about how we survived before email, and I am also annoyed by email, by the vast amount of input that I need to manage, worrying about what I might have missed or forgotten to handle, etc. And both can be true, right? I can love it and also be annoyed by it. I am asked about email often and how to manage it. And I was specifically challenged by a faithful Finish Line Friday attendee to write and record about managing email better. And I feel like it's a good conclusion to my recent professional communication series. A caveat, I'm going to be purposely vague about email account specifics because, we know there's a lot of options out there. So we will be looking at how we manage our accounts independent of who actually hosts your account. And before we delve into email account management, please answer the following question for yourself. Questions, I guess. What do I want email to do for me? Meaning, what function does email serve for me? I'll use me as an example. My email serves to receive and send information and communication, both personally and professionally. We don't get much physical, like actual mail at our house, and that's by design because I don't want actual mail. So personally and professionally, we use email to send and receive correspondence, handle our bill paying, manage our bank statements or investment statements, that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to come to our mailbox. And I also choose to receive my news media via email, plus newsletters I subscribe to based on my interests. So I'm okay that there's an awful lot going on in my email inboxes. But answer for yourself, what do you want email to do for you, right? So what functions does it serve for you? Something interesting happened last week. I logged into my professional email account, my Colleen@peaceofmindpo.com account on my laptop, and suddenly everything looked completely different. Apparently there was an update. They probably mentioned that it was coming, but it was a shock when I logged in that day. Now, on the plus side, and there are plus sides, it added some features that I like. For example, on my personal Gmail account, I really like the promotions tab. I really like it, and I'm probably going to talk about it as an example a lot today, so just bear with me. But I drag a lot of messages over to the promotions tab in Gmail, like advertisements from retailers that I regularly purchase from, and that keeps my Gmail inbox uncluttered. And the good news is my professional email account added that feature. Now, you are welcome, and I'm going to tell you why. I have edited the whining and long-winded paragraph that was originally here, explaining the other changes that I now need to make to my newly updated professional email. And instead, I will share my first tip and our first focus area. There's 3. So the first one for today is personalizing our email accounts. Personalizing, customizing, whatever you want to call it. So for example, in the next week, I will explore the new features of my newly updated professional email account. I know that they sent some links to some virtual tours on how to maximize the experience, and I will adjust my preference settings before I get any crankier about things changing. Because that's another tip. Try not to waste time getting cranky over something you have the power to fix. Anyway, so spend time personalizing your account to make it work for you. I find it very hopeful knowing that we have options. We can do simple things like adjust the experience on the screen down to the background color or font, or, personalizing your signature line. And we can also adjust how emails are handled, like the promotions tab that I mentioned, or routing messages sent from specific addresses to designated folders before they even enter our inbox. So the next tip is to train your email account to handle things in a certain way. As I mentioned, when I drag those messages into the promo tab, Gmail will ask, do you want all future messages from this particular email address to go to promotions? And I can say yes. Next up, folders. Oh, for goodness sake, create some folders. Seeing an inbox that is just all inbox makes me crazy. Makes me kind of itchy. I am suggesting that we designate some folders for our completed work. So we don't want to put active things into a folder if it's just going to sit in the folder and become ignored. But we also don't want things that are done lingering in the inbox and muddying the waters, right? So designate some folders for that completed work and get in the habit of using them. And no, they cannot all be named miscellaneous. So don't even. All right, so shifting from personalizing or customizing your account to cleanup and maintenance. My friends, here may be a bitter pill to swallow, and I'm sorry, but we often create the mess in our inbox. When we sign up for emails or sales, etc., we invite the messages. And if we don't tidy up in there once in a while, it only gets worse. The best news, though, is that we also have the means to remedy the mess. So first up, we declutter. In my paper management class, I just taught one of those a couple weeks ago, but I share resources to eliminate mail before it even enters our mailbox. And we can do that with email too. First up, unsubscribe. Unsubscribe as much as you can, right? So every few weeks, I will take a few minutes and I will unsubscribe from newsletters or retailers cluttering up my inbox or drag them over to promotions. And the great news there is I see positive results, usually within a day, which is motivating to keep that going. Next level is to go to those promotions tabs or folders and unsubscribe there as well. Another thing that we can do to actively clean out clutter is to report spam if it's spam. So a lot of times we may recognize that something is spam and we may even put it in our spam folder, but we need to make that step so that less comes in the future. So take that few extra seconds and actually report spam messages before you delete them. Next up is creating digests. And that's not necessarily an email account feature, but it is often, I receive newsletters from my professional organizations, and some of them send out something multiple times a day, maybe once a day, once a week, etc. And I can adjust that. So if I feel like I'm getting too much information from any certain source, it's possible that I can adjust that for myself and get less. We also can create a shopping or purchasing folder, for example, like that promos tab. For example, a few months ago, I moved all retail and shopping messages and accounts over to Gmail and then immediately assigned them to the promo tab. I still receive advertisements and offers, and I can seek them out if I'm looking for something, but they don't clutter my inbox. And I'm saying all this again because it's related to this next idea. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this idea, but I know some people who have used this strategy, and that is to create a throwaway account for purchases, or just a family account that's just for a bill paying or something like that. Gmail is free and you can create more than one account. The problem here, of course, is that creating another address and another account means that you have more to manage. So before you take that step, please try some of those other strategies first before you give yourself more work. Another tip for decluttering is yearly, or more often, whatever that looks like for you, take a quick glance through your folders and delete anything that's no longer important to you. It is better to delete the old stuff once in a while for yourself than to get that angry email from Google or your email provider that you have used up all your storage. For example, my youngest son graduated from high school 4 years ago. And we still run a fundraising program at the high school where they attended. So I still have a folder called Brother Rice. But as I wrote this article last night, I went over to Gmail and deleted 1,000 old email messages from that folder. Whew, that felt really good. So I guarantee you there's old stuff that can absolutely go. Okay, you have made adjustments to your setting. Good job. You have taught your account about how you like your messages. Good job. And you've removed clutter from your inbox and folders and taken steps to keep that mess away. Again, good job. So let's talk maintenance. Maintenance is the secret sauce, my friends. How many times do I say that? I know, often, but it is the truth. Habits around maintaining order in our inbox are the secret to an email account that continues to work for you. So, a couple things that maybe you've never thought about. I am here to get you thinking, I guess. I want you to decide on your email checking strategy. And by that, I mean really frequency and time of day. Now, your checking strategy and frequency will vary widely depending on if you use email for work or not. When I am in my office sitting at my desk, I am constantly in my professional email account doing the work. If I am not at my house, if I'm working with a client or teaching a class, however, I may only check, every couple hours, right? So know what that is for you. I was working on paper management with a client last week, and she mentioned she prefers email over texting for communicating with friends and family. And she decided that since email is her chosen method for communication, and she has told people that she should probably check it a little more often, at least a couple times a day, to pay better attention. And I really appreciated the awareness and that strategy. So the question is, what does frequency look like for you? If you only use an email account for paying bills and consuming media, maybe you don't have to check it too often. But if you use it for work, maybe you do need to check that often, maybe even multiple times a day. Okay, so that's the frequency of checking in. The next thing that you need to look at is your email working strategy. And yes, my friends, checking and working are two different tasks. Checking email is not the same as working in your email account. So after checking our email and prioritizing the work, we likely need a block of time to get things done. You may even need an order of operations. Here's mine as an example. So my order of operations when I open up my email account, first is a quick scan of my inbox to determine if there's anything really important that must be done quickly. Really important, right? And if there's not, I move on to the next step. Maybe I even take a minute and I put flags or stars, depending on which account I'm using, on anything that catches my attention for later. Then I do a very quick mass deletion of anything I don't need today. Very quick, brutal sometimes. That's okay. And then I go back and actually start working through the emails that I receive. And I mean working on them, not just ignoring them till later. So I'm processing speaking requests in my email, I'm answering client scheduling requests, and I'm adding follow-up items on all of those things to my to-do list. I also, as I'm working, add information to my calendar for upcoming events. And then, if I still have time, I read my news medias or newsletters. If I have time, that's the question. So something that occurred to me, and also I floated past a fellow coach this morning and she agreed. If you have email on your computer, but also on your phone, like a mobile app, you may like the app better than the website and vice versa. So if some of those above tasks are easier on the app, I know they are for me, like the whole deletion thing is a lot faster on the app for whatever reason. So again, explore your options and find what you are most comfortable with. Another tip is to check your spam folder regularly. So twice a week, I have a task on my to-do list to check my spam folders and promo tab, because sometimes messages from people that I actually want to hear from end up in spam. And so I check to make sure I haven't missed someone. It honestly takes 5 minutes. And I have often found things there that I really wanted in my inbox instead. So it's worth those 5 minutes twice a week for me to do that. So I'll take those 5 minutes, check the spam, make sure there's nothing in there that's actually important, and then delete a few hundred messages while I'm there. And obviously, because I talk about routines, we need to make all of these things routine, right? So make a routine for decluttering, like checking your spam folder and your promo tab, unsubscribing from everything you could possibly unsubscribe from, and making sure that you do that on a regular basis. Messages will trickle through, of course. So maybe you leave yourself a note on the first of every month, for example, to review your inbox and your other folders and delete anything that isn't still serving you, right? So that is a great habit to get into. Okay, a few more thoughts before I wrap up. If you are still frustrated after all of that with the amount of emails in your inbox, I'm going to say some things. Just stick with me here. It might sound a little crazy, but do not use your inbox as a to-do list or a bulletin board. We don't keep a piece of paper to remind us to do something. We add a reminder to our to-do list. I have talked about this, right? But the same goes for emails. So leaving messages in your inbox as a reminder, but not having a process for actually doing the task, is setting ourselves up for failure. So the email account is a tool. The to-do list is a tool. And things can get lost in the inbox, so we don't want to rely just on that to remind us to do something. Which leads me to add information from emails into the appropriate placeholders, like that to-do list, right? Another example would be if you are traveling and receive an email confirmation for your flight or your hotel reservation. Add the flight to your calendar and attach the pertinent info in a note on the event. So keep the information where you need it and not swimming in your inbox, right? It is not your to-do list. It is not a bulletin board. Another example, if I book a presentation, I add all of that pertinent information to the event on my calendar and refer to that instead of wandering through folders in my email, right? So yes, I have a speaking folder and a travel folder, but putting the info where I actually need it eliminates so much hassle. We need to get in the habit of moving completed work to folders instead of leaving it in your inbox. And, we get to choose how to set up our accounts and handle our emails, but we actually have to choose. So those are just the last few reminders. So what have we learned today? We have learned that email is a tool, and thankfully, a highly personalizable tool. We've learned that spending time customizing our accounts will save us lots of time and hassle later. We've learned that, as in anywhere we want to get organized, we clear clutter from our inbox, sometimes even before it arrives, and we create habits around keeping the clutter away. And then we consider for ourselves the frequency of checking our email. We carve out time to complete the work, and we use other tools as well in conjunction with the tool of email, like a good calendar and a to-do list. That was a lot, my friends. I hope you're still with me. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about, even email. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.